Everyone likes to try to read the markets, whether it's a stock market, a property market, sell high, sell low. At the moment, we're looking at the property market with an explosion of new property hitting the market. Is it a great time to sell or a bad time to sell? Stay tuned.
Morning, Mark.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Another episode. Another big topic.
Another episode 587.
Yeah, we're getting closer to the big six.
Getting close.
All right. Picking the worst time to sell. As you said in the intro, everyone tries and reads the market. When is a good time, first of all? Is there ever a good time? Is there ever a good time to buy?
Is that right? Yep. It's one of those things. It's one of those things that I guess when you're reading the market, and we were just off air talking about it. When you're selling or when you're buying, you always worry about are you buying at the wrong time? Like, is it like, shit? Am I paying overs? Am I not going to make money? Is it at the top of the market? It's a crap market. It's the bottom of the market. Is it going to go down further? And as a real estate agent, I'm always hearing it. So in a terrible market, you're hearing from buyers, I'm going to wait for prices to go down. And then in a really good market, you hear from people going, I'm going to wait for prices to go down. It's like, when is it ever a good time to get in or get out of the property market? It's interesting.
Yeah. I think you can't purely base it on the market as such. It's got to be, the personal reasons as well. The time is the time when you're ready.
Absolutely, and good morning to Jeff Luby, you legend. Property is meant to be bought, not sold. Luke Moroney, living with regret is no good. It's so true. But what's a big fundamental change, guys and girls, and I guess if you're not in real estate or actively looking in real estate, you sort of wouldn't know this, but there's been probably the biggest amount of stock into the market, as in properties to sell, than we have seen, or than I've seen probably in 20 or 30 years. So within just a month, we've had 25% more properties dumping onto the market. That's fundamentally, that is a massive change. It's good news in some ways and bad news for others. And then that's the question which then ties back to today, what we're talking about, picking the best or the worst time to sell. Is it actually now the best time to sell because of that stock hitting the market, or is it the worst? What do you think?
Well, first of all, that's a huge amount of property. Massive.
If you put that into perspective, so Northern Beaches has 200,000 properties. If you put that into perspective, that we have 200,000 properties at any one time, out of interest, at any one time, we've normally got for sale about 500 in the Northern Beaches. So when you're talking 25% across 500, you're sitting at about the 125. So 125 properties have entered the marketplace within weeks, which is giving buyers a lot more selection, which is giving sellers a more competition to sell their product, because they're not selling in isolation, they're selling in competition because more similar properties are coming on the market.
That's it. But with the restricted access over the last number of months, restrictions have started to ease as of mid-month October. People can now get back into properties, return of normal open homes as we knew before. It's created an environment where I think people that have been worried about the uncertainty before, now they really see the pathway out, and they've obviously hooked on a bit of a trend with this huge uptake in listings. But tying that back to, is it a good time to buy or sell? Yeah, you've got to tie into account those personal reasons as well. Do you think it's
I think
to see such an
pardon?
such a? Do you think it's normal to see such a sharp increase this time of the year as well?
Never seen that. Never seen that much increase hitting the market. But you know what? It's understandable, Billy. Like I think that would you sell the biggest asset that you've ever had in a catastrophic environment like COVID? I think you genuinely, if you had a property, your biggest asset ever, are you going to sell it in tumultuous times? Technically, it was actually a pretty good time to sell because prices were rallying high. But I think it's pretty natural, guy, for you guys and girls out there to be putting your property on the market once lockdown's finished. Like, it's just logical. And not only that, there's a limited couple of weeks that you want to put it on the market, because what people don't realise, or what you should realise in the market is a traditional lead for a campaign is about 4 weeks to an auction. And sometimes people have like a pre-auction period of a week or two. So your lead time to get your property sold is 4 to 6 weeks, especially when you include photos and getting that sort of stuff organised, signboards and things like that. Now, if you've got that 4 to 6 weeks lead time, and you've got Christmas breathing down your neck, I think what you'll see is a lot of property coming on the market the next 2 weeks, and then I think you'll see all the property popping off the market, sold, and those numbers not being replenished.
We spoke about that on a previous episode. Lead times coming into Christmas for a rental, for a sale. These next couple of weeks will be the periods where people really push hard if they're looking to get into the new place. So it's interesting to see that a lot of people obviously feel that now is a good time. Luke's raised a really good question there. Do you think buyers are scared, Mark? I think that people were worried before seeing the uncertainty with crazy prices at crazy times. Do you think that's beginning to worsen now, or?
Yeah, look, I think there was fear of missing out. We know that. We know people like buyer, the price is going to be higher, so just get in. That fear of missing out is pulling away a little bit because the buyers are seeing more stock. I think that the looming threat of a finance being harder is making it harder for a purchaser as well. So they're thinking, shit, I better activate my approval or get my approval before the belt starts tightening up on lending. And also, don't forget, you've got fixed interest rates are starting to creep up a little bit as well. So that's a clear sign that the environment in the mid to long term is going to be higher, your interest rate environment. So yeah, I think all those things helping. But Billy, the biggest thing I had with people that were selling, they would not sell because they could not buy. So at least with this amount of stock coming on the market, it's starting to loosen the belt for people that are selling, with being able to find stuff to buy and the market not being as heavy or competitive.
Great point. Yeah. Yep. That's big. Hopefully we see that some people that have been on edge now, that fear of missing out will start to ease just with the amount of choice that will come about in the next few weeks.
So I guess where we're going here is there's going to be a little bit more stock coming onto the market. So if you think 25% stock drop in a month is a lot, I think get ready for more like 35 to 45% stock drop over the next month. I think it'll start. The amount of stock entering the market will start softening when we start pressing on to middle of November, early November. So there's going to be more and more stock coming on. Then it'll plateau off. Then I think you'll see it sharply drop off towards early December to mid-December.
To answer Luke's question, Mark, I'll go on. Jeff first. But yeah, Jeff's put
go Luke's question.
Are we from an agent's perspective, Christmas time is a good time to buy? Are you, as an agent, busy at Christmas, or how does that look, from that angle?
Yeah, look, I had my first conversation yesterday with a client about it, that's on the market with us at the moment, about activity in Christmas. This was a seller, but let's talk about for sellers and buyers. You see, what's interesting with us is we've all been locked down, so I think we're going to appreciate, cherish, and take holidays more than we have previously, because we didn't have that opportunity throughout the entire year. So it's going to be an active Christmas, but we never sleep. We have traditionally, over 19 years, operated through the entire Christmas period. Traditionally, when lawyers go away between the 23rd, 22nd to about the 7th of January, we've stayed open, and it is a phenomenally busy period for us because a lot of agencies close down. So I think, as a seller, I wouldn't be scared about running through Christmas when you're with an agent that operates open houses and operates an open office and good communication with buyers and sellers through that period. But I guess the drum roll, Billy, is the bottom line. How do you pick the worst time to sell?
You said it pretty good off air. Do you want to say it again?
Over to you.
Okay.
Over to you, mate.
Here it is. There is never a worse time to buy or sell. If you're going to buy in the bottom of the market and you sell in the bottom of the market, effectively, you still double your money when we're looking at a 10-year cycle. Whether you're buying in the top and then you sell at the top, it's the same principle. We've all said it before, but the property game is the long game. If you're just holding for the time being, with the capital growth, with the rental year coming in, just hold for the time being, and then really, you've just got to wait.
You just got to wait. Now, you know that's so it's not timing, TIMG. It's time in, TIME space IN. It's time in the market. So I reckon if you want to get ripped as a seller, sell something you've bought within 1 to 3 years, and get ready for stamp duty to rip into you, and get ready for 4%, because that's what you paid when you bought it, and that's what you're going to pay when you pay the next place. So you're going to dust 8%, 4 on the way in, 4 on the way out of the last place that you paid, and 4 on the way into the next place, and then you're going to pay your agent 2%. So basically, you're going to shred up 10% of your hard-earned, saved money. So if you want to know the worst time to sell a property, it's actually fast. But the best time to sell a property is long. So, when you're in that market for a long time, the plain old fact in Sydney, and I can't speak for other states or cities in Australia, but certainly in Sydney, I think the picking the worst time to sell would be ownership of that property for a short time, given all the transactional costs and given the way the market goes up and level all the time.
Yep, you've heard it there. Capital gains tax.
And then you got, and actually, yeah, Jeff just mentioned capital gains tax. That's a mate corker. When you look at your capital gains tax as well, it's basically it's always the worst time to sell. Just hold it forever. That's probably Jeff. Thanks for that. That's probably the best secret of all is just never to sell the puppy. It's always the worst time to sell.
That's
true.
That's it. That's a little bit of a wrap. We talked about huge levels of stock coming onto the market. A very, very exciting time for people that have missed out.
Yep.
A very exciting time for people looking to really push hard before Christmas.
Yep.
An exciting time for anyone that's been on the fence a little bit.
And before we go, if you're considering selling today, this month, and you're thinking, shit, that's bad news that I've got competition coming onto the market. As long as you're buying, well, first of all, you've come off a tremendous high. Don't be greedy. You've come off a massive high where some suburbs have grown 50% in 3 years or 1 year even. So you're coming off a massive high. Life's not that bad. And the big thing, the massive thing, is it's all relative. So if you're buying back into that market, it's going to be easier for you to find, really harder for you to get a deal on your place, but it's relative. So if you do take a chip on your place, the buyer where you're buying is going to take a chip off their place. It's all relative, and that's it.
That's it. Have a good day.
That's a wrap. Have a beautiful day. Thanks, Billy. See you, mate. See you, everyone. Hope we helped you today.